All right, so here we have logged in as a user. Let's log in as an existing user, Bob. And once we've logged in as that user, what we'd like to be able to do is navigate to the list of websites, right? So let's work on that. Let's see. First of all, we'll create the profile, the navigation to the website. So from the profile page, what we'd like to be able to do is that when we click on websites, we'd like to be able to navigate to the list of websites that belong to the user, right? So I don't want to see all the websites. There might be hundreds of websites, yes? But I only want to see the websites that belong within the context of that user. Right? So I need to somehow provide that as a context. So what we're going to use as my URL pattern is the user. Provide the ID of the user, of the currently logged in user, right? And then some user ID is a variable, obviously, not hard coded, and then website. Which website? Since I'm not specifying which website, I'm going to interpret that as I want to see all the websites. Yes? Okay. So here we need to notice that I'm using a URL pattern, right, that has a hierarchical structure, right? It has a root, right? Then is then a little bit more specific, and then even more specific. And as you move from left to right, it becomes more and more specific about one particular set of data set, right? So what about this user ID? Where do we get that from? Well, since we're in the profile view, notice that the model user contains the currently logged in user, no? Right, that we looked up from the user service, and we're using it to render. Right, so we have access to the model user everywhere here in the template. We have access to the username, the last name, the first name, and including the ID of that user, no? So we could use that to render that right here. Okay, so we could use curly brackets, right, and put in model.user._ID. Right, so notice that we are dynamically, right, building the URL, right, from the constituent values of the user, right? So that if I log in here and I refresh my page, if I hover over the website, you don't see it there. Let's see. If I hover there, you'll see that says indeed user/234/website. See that? Right. So that if I navigate to that URL, the controller could grab the ID of the user and then say, you want the websites for Bob. Okay? And then I can filter out the websites that I need. Okay, or Alice or whoever. Right now it doesn't map to anybody, right? It doesn't map to any view. What we could do is in the config declare the routes for website routes, right? Meaning we'll have a dedicated when, a set of whens of starting with user ID /website, right? That will render as a template. It'll render I think we put it under website, didn't we? Website templates and then website list.html. I think that's what we called it. Let me see. Website. Okay, we didn't put it under templates. Let's put it under templates. Okay, there it is. Let's see if it works now. There it is. We are currently in the list of websites, which we worked on last week, right? This is what we worked on last week. This is the list of websites that is responsive. It becomes smaller and smaller as columns disappear as it becomes smaller, right? This is what we did. But this is not dynamic, right? It's static. We need to make this dynamic, right? And for that, the only way to make this dynamic is that we need a controller, we need a service, we need the data to be stored somewhere, right? We need to retrieve that data. So let's do that next.